So, let's begin. Hello, everyone. We begin our stream with founder of Cascadeur, Evgeny Dyabin.
Hello.
Today we will collect questions only in chat. These questions should be related only with current topics. That's AutoPosing and AutoPhysics. After each block of information, we'll have some time for questions. So I will give them to Eugen, and he will answer them. So now I pass the word to Eugen. Hi, Eugen.
Hello. Yep. Hello, everybody. Today I want to show how to quick animate something on simple examples. How to quick animate with AutoPhysics, AutoPosing, and secondary motion. It's a new generation of our tools, and I show something today. Uh, okay, what first and very frequently question I hear usually how to import your character and model into Cascadeur, and it's a topic for separate stream about rigging. But today I can show simplest way how to import a character if you have a standard skeleton, for example, skeleton from Maya, Max, or for example, mannequin from Unreal Engine or from Dust Studio. We have a list of supported skeletons, and Cascadeur can recognizes them automatically. Okay, click File, import FBX model, and I have FBX file of mannequin from Unreal Engine 4. Cascadeur recognizes that it's a unrigged model and suggests us go to the rigging mode. Now it sees that it's a humanoid character, and I suggest us go to quick rigging tool for rigging humanoids. I agree. And now Cascadeur says that the character has been fully recognized. It because I have Unreal 4 mannequin, and it in the list. Okay. What it means? It means that Cascadeur automatically filled in fields these fields. It's our controllers on this scheme, and it's names of joins. And joins, you can see them in this part. And if you have not standard skeleton, you have to just drag and drop it to fields in right part or on the scheme. Okay, but you can keep. I recommend you to use standard skeletons because, especially if you novice, no, because it's it save a lot of your time, because you have to fill not only body, you have to fill hand, another hand, twists, etc. And if you have standard skeleton, Cascadeur does it automatically. Okay. Click button add rig elements, and we can fix something, can change something, but it's a topic for separate stream. Okay, click button generate rig, and we get we get our character ready for using. We get several rigs. It's a AutoPosing rig, it's our standard rig, and it's useful for full control over the character. Box controller rig, joints, etc. But today we will work with AutoPosing rig. Okay, let's start. What idea of AutoPosing rig? It's an intelligent system in neural network inside, in several neural networks, and it works. Idea that you move some limited number of points, for example, hands, legs, blue points. In this case, now it's only 4 points, and if you move them, neural network, AutoPosing tries to predict another pose. What idea? Rest of the body predict all pose of positions of dark points. But if I want to change something, for example, I don't like the position of neck, I can move it and it becomes blue. If I move, for example, pelvis, it becomes blue too. And it means that I activated this point or lock it, and now I control this point, and AutoPosing works with another points. And this way I can very quickly work with pose and get something. Okay, I can touch. I can control direction controllers. For example, it's a controller of head. If I don't like orientation of body depends on hands and something else. But if I don't like it, I can rotate all the body with this controller and fix it. Because after that, for example, my hand will not have influence on body. If you touch only and use only big points like hands, feet, pelvis, neck, and direction controllers, you very often you can get good enough pose, I think, natural enough. But if you want to go further and fix something, make some details, you can move points, any points. For example, I don't like that knee moves. I move it by my hand and control everything if what I want. And and if I make almost all character blue, I get something like full body IK rig. I can have full control over the character. Okay, it's idea of AutoPosing, and I want to show details how controllers work. How to unlock blue points? You can select it and press Shift Z, and it becomes dark. Okay, select all character, and inactivate all points. What I wanted to show. I want to show you how works first how works direction controllers. The main direction controller is it's a body controller. Body rotates if you move hands, but if you want to control it by hand, direction, you can use direction controller and rotate all character. If you unlock, for example, neck, direction controller can bend your body by this controller, and you can work with it in some FK style. If you lock neck and unlock pelvis, for example, you can work this style. Maybe it's not so useful, but interesting. But if you lock both of them, neck and pelvis, you can rotate it only in around one axis. Okay, direction controller has influence on all body, but if you don't like rotation of pelvis or lower part of the body, you can use pelvis controller, pelvis direction controller, and it rotates pelvis, knees, feet. It works like this. Okay, and it prevents influence almost from high part of the body. Okay, no, and it's a controller of head. It's trivial, but it's only one controller who knows where is up direction. For example, if you rotate, it moves not only head but neck too. You can see neck works, and if you rotate head like this, head knows where is up. For example, if in standard case it would be like this, but it has this position because head tries to be vertical orientation, and it's useful. It keeps a lot of your time because you don't have to touch and rotate around several axes, head, and other points and parts. Okay, what I wanted to show how works feet. It's not a neural network; it's just a heuristic, and foot adjusts to the ground, and it keeps a lot of your time because you don't have to make it manually around several axes. But this system not so trivial. It has some mods because if I can show you if I move it too far from pelvis forward, it changes his behavior like this. But if you don't like it, you can select, double click this point and select all points of if you select it and move it, they became blue, and after that you can move it without intelligent behavior, and you can control your foot as you want. And if you want to unlock it, you have to select them and pull and press Shift Z. Okay. And another case about behavior, if you move it back too far, it change its behavior in this mode. I have to move him lower. Okay, and if cuff has low angle relate to ground, you have this behavior, and it's useful. It's very convenient and keeps and save your time. And another thing, for example, if I rotate this point, it rotates, it locks these points, and I can touch ground with toy, and it's convenient too. But if you want work with leg like in usual our standard trick, you can, for example, you can make blue all points, so you can fix it and work like this, and any way as you want, rotate around any point, etc. A lot of ways how to work with legs. It's topic for separate stream about tricks and hints, etc. Okay, I showed you feet, and I can let's show hands. It works like feet, and you can rotate it. Points became blue, and you can see that it has influence on the on the elbow and shoulder, and it works so good for me that I almost very rare have to change something in this when I make pose from reference, for example. But don't hurry to lock and rotate hands, because it rotates automatically, and very often it rotates good enough. Oh, I want to lock my neck. Okay, it works. It rotates good enough, and for example, I like examples like this. If I move it behind the back, it have this position and orientation of hand, and it's good, I think. And if you move it, for example, behind the head, you get something like this, and it's good too. Okay, I can adjust it manually, but I get elbow and shoulder good enough. Sometimes not good enough, and I can fix it. But fixing is faster than making it from the scratch. Okay, it was about hands. What else? Spine. Let move it up. And what I wanted to show you about spine. Spine works automatically too. If it's not blue. Okay, I want to move hand to see spine better. And when neck closer to pelvis, spine bending has some bending, and but direction of bending depends on position of arms and legs but legs has more influence. And if I move legs, yeah, I can see that pelvis rotates and spine changes bending. It's bending and bending direction. And for example, if I move legs back, I can see that spine work like this, even if one leg, for example, and for example one forward. Maybe it's too right. Okay. And I have direction of pelvis. It has influence too. Okay, I unlock it. And it's very useful bending of automatical bending of spine, because very often novices forget about spine, and it looks very wooden. But in our case, if I try to make some dynamic pose, for example, like this, okay, oh, okay, like this, I try to make some dynamic pose, and I got a dynamic pose of spine, and it's good enough. Often it's good enough. If you don't like something, you can change something. You can control any point, and I think that fixing is faster than making something from scratch. Okay, I showed everything I wanted, and I ready to some questions. some questions. Ilya?
Just a second. As I see in both chats that there is no questions for this moment, I suppose we can wait like for 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes. If there will be no questions,
Maybe my explanation is so understandable that there are no questions.
Maybe. Or that they will ask questions after the stream in our Discord.
Okay. Okay, I can show next thing, AutoPhysics.
Yeah, I suppose let's continue.
Okay, close this thing and open. Oh, I take example sample scene. I like Unreal Engine 4 mannequin, but we have Unreal 5 mannequins, and you can use it too. Okay, what I want to tell and show about AutoPhysics. I want to show only very simple example to explain, because on simple example it's easiest way to explain what AutoPhysics does. But if you I can show example with real animation. No, next time I can make a stream about real animating from this reference. But in this case, I have to make a lot of keyframes, several keyframes with AutoPosing, etc. It takes some time. Not at this time. Okay, I want to activate pelvis and neck. I select them and push and press Shift Z. And I will make simplest example. I want to set key in frames 10, 20 and 30. I press this button to adjust timeline by last frame, and I have to select all timeline by clicking on the name of the layer. And no, now I got I don't got something. Yes, I want to lift up leg here, and in frame 10, and in frame 20 I lift up another leg. Okay, and got something like this. Now I can interpolate it. I press Bezier clamped interpolation, and I got something like this. We can see that our body, our spine moves, and it because AutoPosing changed something in spine. In frames 10 and 20, it is influenced by legs, and it's cool, I think. If you don't like it, you can lock this point. Okay. Now I want to press this button, and I get something like this. And it's a good example to show what AutoPhysics did. And it did a lot. It moves my character the center of mass on the left leg to keep balance. It and prepare jump. It moves down a little bit, and it pushes character up before why jump? It's a jump from frame 10 to 20 because we don't have AutoPhysics doesn't see any fulcrum points on this interval, and because of that it made jump here. And height of jump, it's not random. It depends on time of the jump and gravity. And for example, if I increase time of jump, we get more higher jump. Okay, I want to return it. I liked this jump height, and after that, jump is not vertical. Absolutely, it moves from right to left. It because AutoPhysics want to land on right leg to keep balance. It bounced balance several frames and returned to final pose. And it's not so difficult, and you can animator can make it by hand, but it takes your time, and you have to make a lot of keyframes. So it's about 4 or 5 different phases of motion, and I saved a lot of time on it. Okay, what we can edit this animation. We have to work with gray character, and it will take to account all our changes. For example, I want to change place of landing place, and how I can make it? Do it. I have to click this button, interval edit mode, to work with interval, and I have to switch off this button, because I want to work only with keyframes, not with in-between frames. Okay, I select all the character and move it here. And don't forget to switch off interval mode. It's important. Okay, I got something different, something like this. And what I want to show? I want to show that now in this frame 10, AutoPhysics changed position of pelvis, and now we have different direction from fulcrum area to pelvis for right push direction. It needs to push character in the left, and it's important. But I didn't. I didn't do it. Okay, and AutoPhysics changed position of pelvis in the landing moment in frame 20. It's same reason you need right direction to slow down character to bounce this jump, and we can see force of pushing from fulcrum area, and this arrow has to be inside this area, this fulcrum area. It's physics-based motion, physically correct. It is physically correct, and because of that, it looks more natural. Okay, we can snap these results in keyframes to our character. This button, snap to AutoPhysics, and we can see that our character doesn't repeat our green guy. Why? It because we don't have enough keyframes. It snap it only in keyframes, and it's okay. We have same poses, but in here we have only interpolation. Because of that, we have to add some keyframes, and I recommend to make it in extremum. For example, in higher point of jump, we need keyframe. I think yes. Oh, sorry, we have something wrong, because our AutoPhysics think that it's a fulcrum points. I don't think so, and I want to change it. Okay, I have to select. Okay, I have to select my feed. Yes, I want to turn off trajectories. Okay, I select my feed. I open tab physics. Fulcrum point, and there are two parameters: max height for recognizing fulcrum points, and it's 10 centimeters. It's too much, I think, and I think it can be 3 centimeters. And max distance, it's how far fulcrum can be in horizontal plane, and to be fulcrum, to steal fulcrum, even if it moves. Okay, now we got more right, more correct. Okay, I think that we have to add a keyframe in the lowest position of center of mass here, and here. Oh, we have. It thinks that it's 2. Oh, sorry, I don't. I know. It's because we have 10 centimeters here in this frame. I changed parameter only in one frame, but I have to change it in all frames. It's important. I show you. You have to use this button, apply on selected interval. And if I select all interval by clicking, for example, no, I cannot make like with rectangle. You can select any interval and change parameter for all frames on this interval, and I change it for 3 centimeters. Try check. Okay, it works perfectly. I'm happy. Okay, and when we add keyframes, I can snap my green guy poses in keyframes to my gray guy, and I got something like this, and it's okay. It's important why I need keyframes and why I don't use baking. I can use baking. I can press this button, and if I snap, in this case, I get baked frames and the green in between frames to keep poses in each frame baked. But it's impossible to work with this animation further. Because of that, I use snapping only to keyframes, and I recommend work this way. Okay, we get something interesting, I think. And last example I can show you today about AutoPhysics. It's we can change position to landing place in opposite direction. Okay, I click interval mode, select these keyframes, and move my character here. Snap. Oh, sorry, don't forget interval mode to switch it off. Select all and snap, and we get something like it, and it looks interesting. It looks like cross jump, cross step. And what I want to show you, if you don't like something in poses in keyframes, you can use, and I recommend it. In some cases it was good. You can use AutoPosing, and for example, AutoPosing can change something. In this case, it changed pelvis and spine. We don't have a special button for it, and I just select any point and press Shift Z and Shift Z again. And it helps me to fix some poses if I want. Oh, now we get more perfect animation, I think. Oh, we have crossed legs crossed each other, and we can. Oh, I can switch on trajectories to see it, and I can change keyframe positions of my feet, and any my changes were taken to account by green guy, and it worked. Or we got not crossed legs. Okay, I agree that it's too simple, maybe too simple example, and I can show you how it looks usually. Uh, it usually like this. I open sandwich ready for it. Oh, it's not. It's without reference. Okay, I can switch it off. For example, I have jump like this, and when I use AutoPhysics, there are a lot of frames, keyframes, some different interpolations. I work with my animation, and I got some result. And when you work, you get more and more accurate result or physical result. And to see difference, sometimes it's difficult to see difference. You can use this button, and only in this comparison you can see what AutoPhysics changed. Okay, I showed you and told about AutoPhysics, and I ready to questions if it is if they there is any questions.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions about AutoPhysics and couple of questions about AutoPosing, finally.
Okay.
So let's start with the last topic, with AutoPhysics. Could you tell in detail how parameters in physics character tab affect the AutoPhysics, like geometry, stretching, total, torque, weight, fulcrum, blending
Okay,
frames, yes.
okay. I don't think that it's that I can tell it and explain it today, because today we wanted to talk I wanted to show several things like AutoPosing, AutoPhysics, and secondary motion. But it's a good topic for next stream about making from scratch animation like this. And we spent all the time to making poses, to solve some issues with AutoPhysics. And I recommend you, but today I can recommend you switch off all the things in AutoPhysics. Only physics corrector has to be on, because you have to understand how it works. Today we try secondary motion, but for example, okay, you have to switch on smooth vertical force. No, you have to switch off on default parameters. It switch on by default. And no, I can say that this parameter makes angular momentum more smooth. Geometry constraints is about length of the legs, for example, and it tries to keep it not break. For example, this parameter tries to keep form of your trajectory of your center of mass. If it have convexity up or down, it try to keep it. No, it's difficult to explain today. It's not so difficult, but I need some time to explain it and on the examples, and not it's not for today. Okay, next question.
Okay, next questions. Next question. Now, in your example with jump, are stay static. The AutoPhysics work only on keyed joints.
What joints?
Keyed. I suppose it's присоединенные joint.
Uh-huh. I don't understand the question.
Hi, hi guys. Yeah. By the way, I'm also here. Do you hear me,
Yes, I hear.
Eugene?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Cool.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The question was, in your example, arms are static, so they don't move. And the question is, does AutoPhysics work only with keyed joints? But I think. Like probably not joints but controllers. So yeah, so probably the question is, does AutoPhysics work only with keyed controllers? And I think the answer is no.
What is key controllers? I can't understand. Sorry.
Well, I can answer that. AutoPhysics works with the whole animation. The keys have more weight when it tries to.
Okay, keys, ключевые, keyframe, like
keys,
on
yes,
keyframes. Keyframes. Sorry, guys. No, AutoPhysics works with all the frames, absolutely. But it weight of the keyframes. Keyframes has more weight for AutoPhysics. It tries to keep your pose. It tries to don't. AutoPhysics tries to not change your pose, and it keeps your pose in keyframes strongly than in other frames. For example, I can set keyframes here, move my character lower, and it depends on. It has influence on AutoPhysics. It moves lower as my character. Okay.
Yeah, but the question about arms being static, I think the arms are. I just want to answer that too. The arms are static because they are static in the original animation. So AutoPhysics changes animation for it to become physically correct, but it doesn't add. At least our physics corrector doesn't add some additional stuff to it.
Yes.
By the way, we will talk about secondary motion today, and I think that there we can make the arms move a bit automatically.
Yes. I want to make movement. I want to make some movement for hands and arms by secondary motion, but in general, AutoPhysics try to keep my animation if I don't want to move my arms, and it looks like I don't want, because my original animation only without any movement of arms, and AutoPhysics doesn't add anything if it can, and it can make something without moving arms, and it did it. Okay.
There was a bit clarification of questions. Was there as Sasha understand controllers with keys on timeline? User say that okay, he understand things. Another question about AutoPhysics. Does AutoPhysics respect the original acceleration, the acceleration of the character center of mass, or does it try to make the speed even on the whole interval?
Keep speed from original animation.
Respect the original acceleration and the acceleration of the character center of mass, or does it try to make the speed even on the whole interval?
I don't understand. Sure that I'm
Okay,
understand correctly.
let me try to answer, and you will correct me if I
Okay.
say something wrong, Eugene. So AutoPhysics does respect the acceleration. It actually respects the trajectory of the center of mass, and it tries to get a physically correct result that is close to the original trajectory, but tries to make it physically accurate. But in during the jump, there is some concrete trajectory, but the ballistic trajectory, and so it switches always to ballistic trajectory, and then it tries to keep the trajectory smooth, close on the borders of the ballistic interval and intervals with fulcrum points. So, like there is a part of the algorithm where it tries to keep the vertical force, the vertical acceleration to be smooth. Although I'd say that it more applies to the trajectory. It works with the trajectory, not with accelerations.
Yes, we can say it another way that AutoPhysics tries to keep your acceleration and trajectory of center of mass if it's possible. But for example, in the jump, it's not possible to make another trajectory except ballistic trajectory. Yes, and bounce. It's about AutoPhysics try to keep a maximum acceleration, possible acceleration for center of mass, and it's possible to accelerate from in one frame, and because of that we get some difference from our animation. And another thing. But if you have a lot of fulcrum points or big fulcrum area, AutoPhysics can keep your trajectory, and it tries to keep it in each frame. Okay, if it's answer, I'm ready to next.
Yeah, we have also a couple of questions about AutoPosing.
Yes, couple of questions, and I want to show you secondary motion on this animation, right?
Okay, so I think they're pretty quick. So the first question: would AutoPosing support limb stretching, like for smear frames?
Limb stretching,
I think
like this. If I sorry, I want to fix it. I can stretch it like this. I don't know. We don't test it with AutoPhysics.
with AutoPosing.
And AutoPosing works with it, but I don't know. I don't test it enough, and maybe it works. In some way, you see it works, but I don't test it. Maybe it works better in other cases. Okay.
So the other question about AutoPosing: can it work with non-humanoid characters? No, we do. We actually did a test with our saber-toothed cat, but of course we didn't use AutoPosing that we use for humanoid character because the neural network was taught. It learned how to work with humanoid characters, and you actually need a neural network with a different topology to work with non-humanoid characters. But the test was rather successful, so it worked pretty nicely. Although we didn't have as many animations for our saber-toothed cat as we have for our character.
Any quadrupeds with 4 legs, we want to support them. but now we can work only with humanoids, but with different proportions. You can animate gorillas, or for example dwarfs, something like it. You can have any proportions of your character, but 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 head, etc.
Yeah. Basically, only the stuff you can rig with our quick rigging tool.
Okay, and for example, you can add a tail or, for example, wings in this rig, and you will not see it in this mode, but you can add some animation of tail or wings in this mode. Okay, this mode is more universal.
There's also a question, could AutoPosing be trained by users? Currently, no. It's actually even different libraries to train and to use it. So, no, it's not possible right now, and it's pretty hard to train something.
Okay.
So I think we'll okay, yeah.
I can announce that we try to make AutoPosing for fingers, and I think it will be very useful. Very useful because work with hands, fingers, it's important too. But it will be on release maybe later. Okay, now I want to show you last thing. It's a secondary motion, and we made a last generation of secondary motion. Go to the how to switch it on, physics settings tab, and secondary motion parameter. You have to switch it on. And after that, you can select any interval to change the parameters. For example, I want to select all animation. And sorry, I don't see parameters. Okay. I select all the animation. I select any points I want. For example, I want all the upper part of the body, and I have to open secondary motion tab, and we see local 4 parameters, and main of them it's local blending. If it has 100 value, it means that we have full stiffness, and our movement keep original poses in each frame. But we can relax it. For example, I can one moment. We have to push this button because we want to use this parameter on all the interval. And I relax not only in one keyframe. We want to use it to change it on in all frames. And I got something like it. It's my arms shakes, and I don't like it. And I can make it stronger. Too strong. Or another way, I can use damping, because shaking can be damped. For example, I can use 30. All the numbers values from 0 to 100, and you can try any combinations of them. It will be stable enough. Okay, I got something like this. I can make it more relaxed even, and increase damping, for example, and I got some behavior. But in real cases, you have to you have to change parameters and play with parameters on any on different parts. For example, I don't like how shoulders moves, and I can increase stiffness, and now it's better. I don't like how head shakes. Okay, I can increase stiffness to 60, for example. And this way I can work it very easy, very intuitive. I can iterate, make a lot of iterations, and it's very convenient, I think, and easy. It's easiest. It's dramatically easiest than make it and try it by hand, by keyframes, etc. Okay, try to. For example, I want to make hands more relaxed, and I can try to 0. And if even in this case I made it, yes, it works like this. Okay, return some value. What I can show yet. Very often secondary motion is about subtleties. It's little subtleties, but it's not easy to show. But because of that, I want to change my animation to make, for example, after jumping, usually we have fast changing of speed, and it can lead to more secondary motion, shaking, etc. Okay, I use interpolate mode, select these frames and move them, for example, here, and we got something like jump, and I want to make my arms and body more relaxed, 20, for example. Sorry, we have some back. Maybe this button I have to press it, click it yet one again. Okay. Okay. I pressed it and use this parameter for to all. Yeah, I want to use it on all animation, and I got something like it. Oh, it's too hard. 40. I have 40. Dumping, for example. Okay, too relaxed, I think. 30. But what I wanted to show, air friction parameter, and if I use it, I use strong 50%, and we got something like it. You can see that hands started to fall back, relate to the body, and it's I like it. It's a useful effect for many cases, but you have to understand that the air friction, it's not physical meaning of air friction, because on this speed there are no air friction, almost no air friction in real life, in reality. But idea of this parameter, it's idea of slowing down your parts, or selected parts, relate to the world space, and it's useful. Okay, for example, even my head bending leaned left. Okay, I want to decrease this effect and make it harder, stronger, stiff, more stiffness, even 10. Okay, 0. Oh, sorry, I changed not right parameter. 0 here, damping here. And okay, I like it more. And what I can last parameter, it's a global blending. It's idea to pull our part to position. We can show it this way. We can show it this way. We want to pull, for example, hand to green, hand to our original position to hand. In some cases, or any part. It's useful for some cases. For example, I want to move my shoulders, but I don't want to change to change, for example, position of my hands or feet, or usually something like it. And I can use a global blending parameter, for example, 100. And now position of we have some movement on the shoulders, and for example I want it, but we try to keep positions of hands. Okay, I think you can use secondary motion tab very easy. Safety, because you can use any combination of parameters and play with it. You can select all the character, any number of parts. And it's our last generation of secondary motion. The previous generation named Spring Secondary Motion. We renamed it, and in last early access version. And if you are novice, I recommend you use this secondary motion. It's recommended system today. And maybe we will improve it a little bit, but it works good enough even now. Okay, I'm ready to questions.
So there's one question. I often find it difficult to glance back and forth between viewport and the settings window to track the parameters. Would you consider making a special screen to see them as a graph? Yeah, we actually have. We actually have a graph editor, and potentially these parameters can be seen there. And I think it's more like a bug that right now we didn't add them to the to be shown in the graph editor. But I think we can fix that, and then you will be able to see them in the graph editor. As you can see, like other curves, like position curves there right now. Although we definitely should improve our graph editor, it's not on the final stage. Okay, I hope that answers the question. It's more of a technical one, so I think I can handle them. And there's another question: are the settings panel values interpolated between frames? Yes, they are always. Yeah, and by the way, they're always interpolated with linear interpolation, so they will never go below.
I can show it. For example, I switch off this, and I can change a parameter only in this frame. For example, local blending 100, and I can see that it interpolates 30 here, 100 here, and linear interpolation between them. We have only linear interpolation now between parameters, but it's enough in most of the cases.
Yeah. We actually did that as a special feature for these parameters, because when they were interpolated using PCR, they would go to negative numbers or more than 100, and the algorithm would break.
We have to clamp Bezier for it.
Yeah. It was easier to just switch it to linear.
Okay. And other questions?
I think that's all. Ilya, maybe there are some questions in the Discord chat. I'm not checking them.
Nope.
Okay, yes, in final I want to resume that idea of this set of, I think it's a last generation of set of tools. It's a pipeline for making animation quickly, and you can save a lot of time during AutoPosing in keyframes. You can make less number of keyframes with AutoPhysics. You can try some things with AutoPhysics, and if you didn't spend a lot of time to each pose, you can experiment with it easily with poses, with editing of your movement, and you can iterate secondary motion parameters and try different things. It's more easy, and it's possible to try different things, and get best result. And this pipeline, I think, it gives you not only quality of animation, but I think physics-based animation, it's a part of the quality. But it gives you time. You work faster, and because of that, you can make changes faster, and it gives you quality. But if you don't need quality, even in this case, it's useful because you got result faster. Maybe it's multiply fast. No, in twice faster, or in 3 times faster, and it's useful if you make money, for example. Okay. This idea. What is idea about this pipeline? I recommend you try, and thank you to visit my stream, to watch my stream. I hope it was useful.
Yep, I think that's all. Bye, friends. If you will have any questions more, come to our Discord and we will try to answer them. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. There is, by the way, the last question. I don't know. Maybe I can try to answer it really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
When you have the character interact with other things, like the dinosaur example, bumping into the cube, do you adjust the center of mass curves, etc., by hand, or you have automatic tools for interactions? Yeah, we actually adjusted the curves by hand. You can make a center of mass that will include both, like the cube and the dinosaur in that example, and then you have to adjust by hand and make sure that there's no additional acceleration in the interaction. So yeah.
I can show example, but it's not work in final way. But you can make some interactions between objects, between characters, with using common center of mass, and you can use work on interval for AutoPhysics, and in this way AutoPhysics will work with your group of objects, as a whole, as one composite thing. Yes, and if you can make some traction like dinosaur hits cube, or somebody push somebody, and but separately you work with this interval. After that you work with different interval and with different, for example, with different center of mass. You have to
select.
Yes, you have to select. Or why it work interval? You have to select it separately. It's more, you have to be accurate with it, because you have to understand what you do. What, for example, I have to select this interval, this character, and switch it here, switch it on, and part by part you can get right correct result, physically correct result with several objects. But it's difficult. You have to have some experience with it, and I hope we will make some we want to make it work
automatically.
To work automatically. Yes.
So
Okay.
we're not there now, but we're going there.
Okay. If it's all, thanks again. Good luck. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, and
Well, it's
see you.
nice to see you, and thank you for the questions.